Up until now, Taft Avenue is quite poorly lit, and these are the okay parts because there are establishments that's lighting the area, but near the end where I turn where I make my turn to another street, it's still very dark and there are lots of potholes, and again the traffic. Actually, this is the okay traffic in by Metro Manila standards. Actually, this is no traffic. so those, if you're not familiar with that, those are jeepneys, and that's a tricycle. Those um, are Asian vehicles that's unique in the Philippines. So these jeepneys are are actually, they were designed based on the actual jeeps that the U.S. military left after World War II. So those vehicles, military jeeps, they were converted into passenger um, buses. Kind of it kind of serves the function of a bus, although it has a different dynamic on how to uh, to give to transact with the driver, and how to make the payment. It's a very basic concept. So no fancy electronic cards to use. You just take your money and pass it on to the other passengers, and until it reaches the driver. And the driver is also the conductor, and he he's also the cashier. So you can imagine how safe that is. But but that's how it's been since after World War II, and it's been one of the trademarks of Metro Manila, and well, actually in the entire Philippines, because jeepneys are all over the country, not just in the cities. Um, they are passenger vehicles. They are also work horses, and they also serve as containers for goods to be to uh, to be transported from different provinces, from the farms until the markets and the cities. But nowadays, especially recently, there's a plan to get rid of these jeepneys. So traditionally, jeepneys are very colorful. If you, it's like a fiesta. It's it's used to be painted by hand by local artists, and well, you could just search for it in Google, and usually back in the day in the 50s, or I don't know, back in the olden days, about 5 or 6 decades ago, the the imagery that's painted on these jeepneys are usually um, farm scenes, maybe a lady, or nature scenes, mountains, those kinds of things, or the sea. But then nowadays they use um, different materials now. They use stickers, uh, airbrush paints, and well, anything that you can use to produce an image on a surface is used now, and also the themes of the jeepneys has changed from the sceneries into into um, pop culture characters and stuff, and letters and words and icons. So that's how it evolved, and also trying to, like I said, they're trying to phase out jeepney once and for all. I've been hearing about this since for maybe decades now, and they've always planned how to remove the jeepney because let's face it, as much as I love these Filipino icons, they are they are a nuisance in the road because a lot of well, first of all, it's not it doesn't meet the safety standards of modern vehicles. There are no seat belts in there. There are no airbags, and they are, well, very. I don't know if there's if if I don't know how safe these jeepneys really are. They're probably death. No, I wouldn't say death trap because it's open most of the time. But uh, if it crashes, you are most likely you're gonna get screwed. So that's one, and also a lot of the jeepney drivers are, well, they mostly come from poor families. Unfortunately, I don't want to stereotype, and I'm not saying all jeepney drivers are bad drivers because there are also I've also rode because I rode these modes of transportation uh, very often when I was younger, and I have met many nice jeepney drivers over the years. Well, we had a jeepney before in the province, and the driver we had was a very cool guy and very nice. And but then there are these bad tomatoes that really make the jeepney drivers look bad in general. Yeah, here's the part where it's really dark. It's just the dot on the street, right? So it's good that I had the flashlight. I actually forgot to turn it on in the first parts of the video. Anyway, so these jeepneys, a lot of these drivers are so undisciplined, and that makes a lot of that contributes a lot to the traffic because they don't earn much, but their tendency is to race for the passengers and and most of the time not follow rules depending on where they could load or unload passengers. So those little things cause a lot of traffic to on the road. So aside also another issue is their environmental impact because these jeepneys are they're actually second-hand machines. Most of them are imported from Japan, if not all, and those are engines of old, I think, pickup trucks that was refurbished, and they just make a new body for it, and come up with these jeepneys. So I don't know what's gonna happen. They're trying to replace these jeepneys with electric an electric vehicle, a counterpart. But the problem with that is the culture of the jeepney. It's been one of the symbols of the Filipino culture. That's undoubtedly Filipino. And here in the Philippines, um, I don't know. I don't want to say we don't have much, because there are lots of Filipino values, and but those are the fact that I couldn't just give you spontaneously, or just over my head. Um, it's it would be great if we can preserve the culture that the jeepney has given to the Filipino society. But I don't know. I don't know. But then again, maybe it is time that it gives way to progress and change, because not everything lasts forever anyway. And maybe it's time that we embrace it. And maybe we could just use the jeepneys for tourism, or I don't know, somewhere else, not here in the metro, in the capital, where the streets are clogged. But then again, that poses another huge problem about the livelihood of these drivers. I don't know how many drivers, how many jeepney drivers will be affected, and not just the drivers, the operators, because most of the drivers don't own the jeepneys that they drive. There are operators who just let them drive it, and what's gonna happen to them, right? So this problem is not as simple as it seems, and hopefully we could get into a compromise, I suppose, or we could solve this problem some way, somehow. uh, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it, uh, because as far as I because the jeepneys are really a nuisance on the road, and I just don't know the culture. Maybe I could just like I said, maybe it's time for the jeepney to give way. But for the jobs and the livelihood of those who depend on this industry, that's the real problem, I think.